Hey guys, welcome to another exciting video. Every video is exciting to me. So in this video, we're going to discuss a little bit about SQL. So the first video is not going to be exactly about SQL. The first video, we want to get into SQL. So we're going to talk about, give you like a little demo of how we could save stuff and just to get an idea how to save stuff. And then we'll get into creating we'll show you how to do a write and read a text file, and which is important. And then the other thing is, then we'll get into a database introduction to SQLite in Android. We'll talk about how to write up an application using SQLite. I know last week we talked a little bit about web services, and we will still finish the web services. I know we got to the point where we were making web service calls and receiving information back from the service. So we're making a call to the service and receiving stuff. So we will go loop back with that and then finish our app. But I wanted to jump ahead and start talking about SQL a little bit because the two are very important. They both play an important role. So the one key information is, so a lot of you maybe you know or don't know. So like last week when we made that web service call, those services are already available for us. But you think about how they get data. Where do they get data? And they get it from a database, and a database is being fed the information to the web service. So the web service is all it is programming code, whether it's written in Java, .NET, whatever language it's written in. It has a class, and that class is calling a database and it's getting information. So when we call that class, it goes out and grabs data from the data and sends it over to us. So it's an easier, it's easier, but it's probably best practice way of getting data versus connecting directly to the database, where there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of situations that can occur. So today we're going to talk, in this video at least, we're going to talk about how to do a shared storage type environment. So let's get and set up a new environment. I'll call it I like to call everything my shared storage, and I'm gonna hit next. I just keep everything the same. Empty activity as usual. I keep it main activity. You could always call it something else. Let's let these guys build for us here. Let me minimize this a little bit. That there. So let's go ahead and pull up our app here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Too small for me. Now it's too big for me. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. So that's off there. All right, so I'm going to go over to plain text. So I'm going to go revisit something we haven't talked about in a while. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this guy down here somewhere. Right there's fine. And we need to come up with a name. So I'll call it input name ID. Whoops, that doesn't look good. So let's actually call it, it's edit text. Edit text ID. Because you know what, I used special commands for stuff the last time, if you remember, and now I want to enter certain things in it. I'll just call it edit text ID. All right, I have to get those keys off there. So that's from the web service call. All right, so we have name, and then we need to give it a hint. So I'll click on that, add new resource, new string, edit text ID, and we'll say edit text. Actually, you know what, say input name, and hit OK. And that way it has a hint in there. I think I did it right. All right, good. Let's see here. If I took the name out real quick. Yeah, so I wanted name out there. So what I did is I took name out. So that way our hint is in there. It says input name. Okay, so let's you could do whatever you want to do with it. I'm just going to try to increase the font a little bit. What's it on right now? Let's see if we can put on 14. Oh, that 14 was too small. Let's put on 24. Much better. And then I'm just going to move this guy around a little bit. All right, so then we have to anchor it down. Oops. When you haven't did this in a while, then you easily forget silly things, such as anchoring it down. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so, all right, so now we have this right here. So let's add a button. Need a button at least. All right, so I'm gonna create the button. I try to give it some type of unique name. Usually what I do is I'll call it BTN ID, button ID. It depends on what it's doing. This is gonna be saving something, so maybe BTN save ID. And then we want to change the value of it. It's the same button. We could easily do that or add a new resource and new string value. We call it button save maybe ID. I can't remember. We could just say save and hit OK. All right, perfect. To me, I want to increase the font a little bit. I want it to be, I don't know, sans. I'll just change it around a little bit. Maybe even change it to cursive. Oh, that looks terrible. Casual. Wow, okay. Bold. Now I might want to increase it because now I can barely see it. Alright, so I wanted to make the save a little bit different. Looks like something a little kid would like. Alright, so we have save. Then we also need to anchor this bad boy. Boom. Boom. And boom. And let's move this guy up a little bit. Okay. And now we need a text box. A text field. So a text field. So let's do text view. So we could do text view right here. So let's add it. Well, let's do this. Let's anchor it on. Down here. We'll move it around a little bit and move it right here. Anchor on this guy right here. Let's move him over here somewhere. Yeah. I want it to be bigger though. Let's see this. I apologize for the sound in the background. They're installing a pipeline on my property, so you hear a lot of craziness going on. I should show you something real quick. Hold on. Yeah, so if I pull my camera up here, you see this is my property. What's going on right outside my house is we have all these trucks. We have police presence, and in the back of my yard, you can't see. They're actually what they're doing is they're putting a pipeline through my property, and it's just been a total disaster, I like to say. Let's see here 1 second. I'll find something else. Let me show you this. Actually, Post Gazette did an article on my property. So this right here is my property, like my backyard, and this is where they're actually putting the pipeline through my property right now. So they're coming down the hill. They built this 16-foot hole here. This is actually they brought a drone out. This is pretty cool. So they this is a 16-foot hole, and they spread it. They're going underneath the property here, underneath the road and over the side. So I own all this. I own all this hillside way at the top. And then I actually own all the property like way out here as well. So yeah, so I own all this here all the way up and around. But this is like our back property, and it's just been deteriorated with all this pipeline that they're putting through here underneath here, and it's going from Ohio to Philadelphia plant. It's a $9.4 billion project. So anyway, so we own way over the hills, and the thing is, I wish they could have moved it back there, but they didn't. So all that craziness that you hear is what's going on in my backyard. So back to programming. Sorry, guys. Anyways, so that is what is happening. It's always been exciting. So when I'm making these videos, that's all I hear going on all day long. All right, so text view. All right, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to input something, save it. So I'll have to write some code for that. And the concept of this is to be able to input something, save it, and then keep going back and the information is saved versus only being there for a one-time stint per se. All right, so make sure I hit save, and let's go over to main activity and let's start writing some code. So I need to start declaring some values and stuff like that. So I'll start off right here, and I will do private button. So I need to have a button, and we have it called save button. Yes, I know I need to do that, so I'm gonna make life easy. Oh, it's not gonna do it for me. There it is. Do this and just import class. Imports it for us. There's the button. All right, so now we need to do private text view. Same thing there. Text view is gonna be results, and then we need to do private edit text, and it's gonna be enter message, or it could be input message, whatever. Let's see here. All right, where's my guy at? All right, 1 second. All right, well, I was hoping this guy would do it for me, but I guess I have to write it up here. Oh. So Android.widget.text view, import Android.widget.edit text. I don't know why it didn't come up, but anyways, nonetheless, it's fine. So we have that information in there. What did I do? Was it up or? Oops. Nope. Now it's not gonna work for me. Was it up D? Nope. Can't remember what my shortcut key was to make that bigger. But anyways, nonetheless. All right, so we have this information here. Let's see here. What else do we need to do? So now we need to write down some code down here. So we have our activity main here. So we need to have a input message. Well, let me think here. All right, enter message. So we have this message right here called enter message. So I'll put enter message equals edit text, our text that we're editing. And then we need to find that object. So this is all old stuff that we did a long time ago. And so we're going to do enter name, or what did we call it? So I have to look back at what I called it, because I don't remember what I called it. I called it edit text ID. So that's what we want to find. So dot edit text ID, there it is. That's our object out there. Perfect. And now we need to do one for result. So we'll say result equals text view, because the result is, we go back to the main here, that's a text view, so we want to grab that information. So we're going to say text view, and we're going to say find view by ID, and we're going to do r.id dot result text view. Okay, results text view. All right, I don't even think I called it result text view. I didn't call it anything. I just called it text view. All right, so let's go up here and call it result text view. All right, so let's do this result text view. So make sure it's there. Results. Oh, geez. Dot. I'm saying dot. Results text view, which is not coming up here. Why is that? What am I thinking here? Result equals, and I have result text view, so why is it not working? Result text view. Let's see, why is it not working? There it is. I guess it took a second for it to recognize. What happened is I put it here, but it seemed like it didn't catch it. But now we're good. Perfect. All right. So now our button, save button, equals what type of object is. It's a button, sure. And then we need to find a view ID, and then we need to do r.id.save button. Button save ID, I guess I called it. I call it something. Now we need to create a action event for our button. So when they click on the button, we need something to happen. So this is all stuff that we've already talked about before. So if it seems like I'm going quick, it's only because we've already did it once before. or twice or many different times. So on click listener, so we need to have a brace here, and then in here we're going to put an override. So you could type an override, or you could also, remember, you could right click on it and you could just implement it from here as well. So you could generate, and you can say I want to do an override method. What type of override method do you want to do? You want to do a public void. So you want to do it on click, so you could just click on that and it does the same thing, probably actually even easier. So now we have this on click, we have the override. So this is looking good real quick. So let's go back. So now we have to use a library that we're going to use, which is going to save information for us. So, you know, like before, we input something, it displays on the screen, but now we want to be able to save stuff into memory. Kind of like if you've ever played a video game and you're like, how's it saving it? Well, that's what we're going to do right now. So that's the first thing about saving stuff. And we'll talk about SQL, but we'll start off here. So we'll do private shared preferences, and it's called Android content. And I'll call it my pref. Yeah, my pref is fine. And then I'll do private static final string, and I'll call it pref's name equals my pref's file, and close it. And you can call it anything. You don't have to call it that. So it doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you use the shared preferences, and anything else is pretty doable. All right. So now we'll go down into our on click here, and we'll do my prefs equals get the shared preferences. So we want to get the shared preferences, and then we pass in that pref's name, this information here, which is our final pref's name, and let me think here. Pref's name, and then we're going to pass in a 0 for our variable, which is mode. All right, now I'll do that, and then I'll do shared preferences dot editor. Oops, editor right there. And then we'll call it, I'll just call it editor. You call it anything equals my prefs dot edit, like that. Perfect. Now I'll do editor dot put string. So put means to input something. So one of the things that we didn't talk about yet in RESTful, when you write your own web reference, when you write your own web service, which we didn't, we use something called a put string, but we didn't talk about it. So we're going to put string, which we're sending a message, and we're saying message, comma, and we can say enter message, which is our variable that we created up here, get text, and then toString. So toString is just to string it out, and there we go. So we are rocking and rolling very easily, very quickly here, guys. Now we have this, and now what we need to do is we need to commit our message. So committing means that you're making it final. It's going to happen no matter what. All right, so now we're committing our message, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to create a new class. This would be called we'll say retrieve our data. So what will happen here is anytime that we leave, you see when I hit that D, oh, it's going up. So let's do this. I found my key. I gotta fix that. So I'll say retrieve data. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to do shared preferences, and it'll be called prefs equals get shared preferences. So this is going to be the thing that lets us input our data and save it and come back to it at any time. So this is going to keep everything in memory here. All right, so now we're going to do a conditional statement. So we'll say if our prefs content, our prefs contains, if it contains message, which we're sending over, which is fine. We're going to do let's see here, 1, 2, and then we're going to do a curly brace here. And in our curly brace, we're going to set up a string. We're going to call it message equals our preferences dot get string, and then we're going to get the message, which is our mode, and then we're going to do not found. So previously, the define value and the key wouldn't go on here, so this is new with Android. And then we're going to grab our result, do result dot set text. I'll explain what all this is in a second here. So we'll do message, and then we'll do that space. We'll do a plus, and we'll do message, and we'll close it out like that. So what it's doing here is we're using our shared preferences, that we declared up here, so that we can use it. and we're calling it prefs. So it's going to send our preference and our mode is 0. And it's saying if it contains message, which it will because that's what we're inputting, a message that'll be typed in here. So this is where a message will happen. You'll input something like your name, hit save, and then if it receives a message, then what it's going to do is it's going to pass the message, and if it's not, it's going to say not found, else it's going to display that message, and that's what we're kind of going for here. Run this and see if it even works. So hypothetically, I don't know. Let that build. It says it had 0 errors, so errors. I have so many screens here. I don't know where the hell my screen's at. Oh, there it is. All right, so we have. Good thing is it comes up. Input name saved. So let's see. I'll put Pittsburgh, and hit save. Should put a what we should put is a toast right there, so it shows it was saved. Actually, that's a good idea for your assignment. So hit back. All right, brought that weather app back up. And let's go to our, I have so many things here. What was it called? My shared preferences. So let's go into my shared prefs. All right, so message, hold on. Jeffrey. Oh, I wonder if it's not saving because it doesn't have any room to save it. Or I don't have any room displayed here because this should be on here. Alright, so it says Jeffrey. Let me do something here. Seaman. Hit save. Click again. Seaman. Alright, I think my message is being truncated off because of the room on there. It should still have more information. Let's just put number 1 on here afterwards because I think that's what's happening. I bet you. 1. So let me truncate. Let me stop this for a second. I wonder if I have enough room. And let me make it smaller because I bet that's what it is. It looks like it's being taken off a little bit. Oops. Let's see here. Alright, so let's run it again and see if that's what it is. Alright, so here's the important thing. We put 1 in there and it's still in memory. So I'll put JFF. Save. Go back. It saves the information. It should save more information in there. I keep adding on to it. Let me see something real quick. So I was looking at code. So I was actually wrong. I told you that it would keep saving and adding on. What the concept here is, my bad. So it does work the way it is working. So the idea is to say, let's say that you give it a value. You say, I think Steelers will beat the Ravens. Okay, I hope that. And I hit save, and here's what I input it right now and save it. And I go back out and do kind of like a refresher. I go back and it says I think the Steelers will beat, and it just got truncated off, no big deal. But let's say that I stopped the app, right? I closed it, and let's stop this guy. I don't know why this guy is open up here. So, it's probably going to say, I know it's saving my state. So, when I hypothetically run it again, hold on, what's this guy doing? Alright, let's hit run, see if it overloads it. It should bring up, I hope the Steelers beat. And that's the whole concept, is to retain the information. Oh, boy, gosh. Thank you. Alright, now it blew up on me because I was doing all that. So, let's do this. Yeah, it's right there. Alright, so now I'll go back into my shared preferences. Oh my god. Sorry. I'm impatient. Alright, so you see what happened. It brought up that same message. So that's perfect. That's how you save, and so by doing that, we use the shared preferences. It allows us to save a message and retrieve the message. Okay. So the next video that we'll talk about is how to write and read text. So I'm just giving you guys an example of how to do this, and then we could talk about how to do it in SQL. All right. Thanks for watching, and have a great, awesome day.